Hey, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to today's live. And if you can hear us and see us okay, type llama in the chat. So I want to see where you guys are watching this live stream from. And while you guys do that, my name is Kathleen, and I will be your host for today. I am with one of the talented artists and influencers with Etchr Lab, no other than the ever so wonderful David Morales.
Hello.
Okay, we've got hello from New York, Italy, llama. Okay, I can see a lot of llamas coming in. South Africa, awesome. All right, so today is extra exciting because apart from the free demo brought to you by Etchr Lab in collaboration with David Morales, who will show you the basics of hatching to create depth and dimension with your sketches using the Etchr Graphic Pens. One lucky winner, I said one, but I did two, just one. One lucky winner will also get a chance to win the Etchr Graphic Pen Collection set. So isn't that exciting? Hi from sunny North Wales. Awesome. Okay. All right. So if you want to know how to win that, make sure you stick till the end of this live session to know the mechanics. And for those who are new with us, I'm going to be dropping a link to the Etchr Graphic Pens Collection if you're not familiar with that. So just a few reminders before we begin. If you have any questions, type them in all capital letters in the chat so I can easily see them. And if it's related to what David is doing at the moment, we'll go ahead and ask them. But if not, we'll go ahead and save them for the Q&A at the end. And lastly, if you will be following along today, there is a line work that David has kindly prepared for you guys. So if you want to do that while David's doing the first parts of the demo, you can. And make sure to stick till the end because we will answer all your questions and also do the giveaway. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor to David so that he can introduce himself and talk about what we're going to be doing today. So David, it's all you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, hi guys. If you don't know me yet, I'm an architect, and I do part of my time I do illustration, and since college I've been drawing a lot with pen and ink and using the cross-hatching technique just to, in the beginning, to do my buildings and things like that, and then I started a project called One Day One Drawing, where I start sketching my surroundings, and I start doing things differently from what I used to do with the buildings. And now I'm very into light and shadows, and that is something that we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna be using the pens collection, and I'm gonna explain how what the set has, and then we'll do some small exercise of cross-hatching using the pens, and after you finish with the line work, we can start like cross-hatching together. So we have this set where you have like I'm gonna show it like this. Okay, yeah, that would be good. We have this pens where you can get from 005, which is, and the people that knows me knows that is my preferred the one that I use the most because it's very thin. And then you have the 01, and from the 01 you have most of them until 1, and that means this is 1 millimeter thick, and this one is 0.0, I mean half of a millimeter thick. So this one is very thin, and the other one is a little bit thicker. And I'm going to show you the difference between the 005 and 1. And between them is most of them. This one is, for example, 105. And you can use them to get the values. I mean, when you use cross-hatching, what you do is you hatch in different directions and you get the values with it. That you can get like darker values with a thicker one, or you can do like more layers with the thinner one and get the same value. I don't know if I explain myself, but I will show you later. Then we have the chisels, like a small one, which has this. Let me show you the bigger one so you can see it better. Like this, so you can do this kind of lines. And then one I really like a lot is the brush pen, which you can do like very thick lines, or you can do even a very thin line, depending on the pressure that you put on the pen. And that's very gives you lots of variations in your lines, and you can do almost everything with it. But it's not that easy to handle because you have to keep the pressure consistent, so you get like very fluid lines with this one. And then you got the ones that I use just to get like the really dark values, which are these ones that you can like get very bold things very fast. And you can do like really fast sketches of these things. So what we're doing is I'm going to show you how crosshatch. So we can start with our drawing. Crosshatch has, right?
Sorry,
It depends on, yeah.
Yeah. Just to clarify, this is the pen that you're using at this step would be a bullet tip, but what size is it? Is it the 0.05?
This one, yeah, is the 005. Let me show you here.
Gotcha. And
Yeah,
before we proceed with, yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Before we proceed with the hatching, I think we've got some questions or clarifications from the earlier pens.
Definitely.
When do you use the chisels, the brush pens, and somebody's saying because the chisel tip is intimidating to them? So when do you use the different kinds of pens that you've showed us?
For example, I always start with the 005 on old thin one because I don't want to compromise myself too much with the drawing in the beginning. I like try to stick with the very thin lines, and then I start increasing the 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 thick of the nib. And that's most of it is for lining my drawings. But the chisel, for example, when I do when I write on the sketches, I use it a lot. I mean, I really like this effect that you can get like two different kind of thickness depending on how you write. Like if you do this, you can like get this thick, and then on the other direction it's get thicker. So I use it for writing, for example. I use it a lot, but I don't use it on the sketches. I mean, if I sketch with these ones, I tend to use like the thinner part and use it like this, and you can use it on the other way, just like to get the darker values faster than with the thin part. It's almost like using a fuse pen. I mean, I'm sorry about the word, but I keep forgetting.
No.
Like when you use, I mean, actually, you can use it as it has two different type of nibs. You can use it from the sides, and then you just use the other one to do the darker parts. So, I mean, it's not that hard to use. And then the brush pen. If you had to go out, and I just can't take one pen with me, I would take the brush pen because you can do like almost anything. And I don't know where it is now, but I want to show you. Let me see, because I lost my brush pen here. I really like the effect of the thin lines that you can do, and then the thick lines that you can do with the brush pen. Really easy. So if I did take one, it's going to be this one.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. All right. So I think that is it. So just a quick recap. The pens or different pens that David has showed are the bullet tips. So those are the brush pens that are kind of like a hard tip. And then we have the needle tips. Those are David's favorite, what he
Mm.
uses to begin with. The chisel tips, which are intimidating for some, and the brush pens, which are softer and kind of harder or on the challenging side to manipulate with. But with practice, you guys can definitely um, work with work with it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
yeah. All right, I think we can begin with the hatching.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
show you how the hatch works. When you do the cross hatching, you have four directions that you can work with: the vertical lines, the horizontal lines, and the two diagonals. And when you mix all these four, all four, you get the values. And then it will depend on other things, but I will show you later. I'm gonna just do this very quickly, not paying attention too much to the borders.
I see that you're holding your pen a little farther from the tip. Is that
Yeah, that
something?
is something that I always do because I don't want to pay much attention to details. If you hold it like this, you tend to go slower. But
Right.
if you hold it from far away from, I mean, farther from the need, you can do like longest lines. For example, you can arrive to points where could you would have to move your hand. But if you just have all these if your center point is here, you arrive from here to here without moving your hand, right? But if you
Right.
hold it here and your center point is here, you have to move your hand to do all this line. So you can do like longer lines holding your pen from far away from the nail.
That makes much more sense. Is there also a reason behind drawing the line from the bottom to top, or is that like a personal preference?
Yeah, I mean, there is something that I used to like turn around my sketchbook a lot. But then
Right.
when I start doing live sessions, I didn't want to move my sketchbook from the camera. So I start doing like different the lines on different directions, moving my hand in different directions, and I found out that these vertical lines are the one that I feel more comfortable doing. So that's always the one that I start with. But you can start with the one that you feel comfortable with. I mean, it's just a personal preference.
Gotcha. Thank you.
See, for example, these ones for me are like harder, so I go a little bit slower, and I have to move all my hand to do the line. On this one, I just have to move my fingers. So it's a little bit harder. I also could also move my paper and do it a little vertical, and I will go faster. The important thing here is these lines and this one are just perpendicular from each other. Now I'm gonna do the diagonal ones. Sorry, I made this one the same direction than the third ones, but you get the idea. And now I'll do these ones. So
Of
from
course.
this point, I cannot go further. I mean, I shouldn't make another direction. If I did, it will get a little bit dirty, a little bit dizzy to watch. So if this value is not um, um, deep enough, or I mean, it's not the one that you want. You want to go further. You should change the nib. So now, for example, I'm gonna get the O2 and do the same thing right here on top of this one. And you can see the difference in between these two.
And the pen that you're using at the top right now is the one? Is that
It's
right?
the O2. It's O2.
O2, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. And I wanted to do it with this one because it's not much different between the 005 and the O2. It's still a thinner nib. It's a thin nib,
Mm-hmm.
but you will
But yeah,
see that you
yeah.
will notice the difference between.
Yeah, we definitely can see now.
Yeah, you can see this difference between these two. And now, if you needed much more value here, I'm going to take a big one on OA, and I could
Yeah.
go on top of this one again. Because, for example, I needed to go deeper on this value. And you see how you start at arriving to a very black kind of value. And if I just go with this is the 1 millimeter nib, you go almost to black. But you cannot do this. I'm going to do it with the 005. Let's see that I already made darker value with the 4 directions. So you get with these 4 directions a nice, even texture. But if you start doing another direction, in a bigger picture, it will not be as even as you want to be. It will not look that good. So if you want to get darker, you should change a nib and go with a thicker nib. I don't know if I make myself clear with that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I did. I hope I did. And I'm gonna start like working on this
Mm-hmm. Thank
with
you. Yeah,
this.
I think you made a clear explanation. Sandra agrees with that. Very good demo, good explanations too, she said. So yeah.
Okay.
Is there any reason why you want to use, say, for example, waterproof pens, or is there like a preference,
Yeah,
or
I
not really?
mean, I sketch a lot on the street, for example, and if it for any reason start raining, I mean, I don't want my
Mm,
work to go. I mean, to just go away.
yeah.
Sometimes after my lines, I use a little bit of watercolor, and definitely you have to use waterproof ink. if you're gonna use water after a wash, for example, you can use diluted ink on top of your drawings, and you need to use watercoloring. So in my case, I always try to use watercoloring. I'm sorry, waterproofing for my drawings. I mean, that's the basic reason. I don't know if people here have another one, or if you tell me why you use non waterproof ink, it will be a discovery for me. But in my case, I always use the waterproof ink.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, let us know in the chat. So, okay, I think we can begin with this. Again, for those who just arrived today, if you're following along, if you want to follow along, I will be dropping the link again in the chat for the line work, which David has prepared for you guys. So, thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. The first thing I do is to pay attention to the darker values. I mean, that's the first thing I do, and I will like mark them with the. I'm going to start with the 005, but we could go with the thicker nib, but I'm going to try to use this one in the beginning, and then we go with the thicker one. So these darker values are, of course, this one here, and maybe the inner part of here. I'm not going to do these transitions between this dark value and this one here, maybe a little bit, but there's two values in here, and I'm not gonna go like very detailed on that. So I'm gonna try to stick with this, and this value. I'm gonna just like mark it, and maybe this part of the shoot here. So another thing that I don't do, but I recommend to do, is to start from the left to the right. If you start on the right, I don't know why I always do. I have to think about it. Um, you don't want to put your hand on your ink. It doesn't matter because it's dry very fast. But it's better if you start from one side to the other, from the left to the right. So I'm going to start with um, since we're going to go very dark, your cross hatching could become a scribble. And for that, I want to say that this is the cross hatching, but I could also go like this. And I'm go faster, and you will mix a different kind of texture. It's not as uniform as the other one, but then after we're almost done, I can go with a thicker one, like let's see, this one, for example. And we can do vertical lines, and you see how uniform it gets.
Yeah.
So this one is like a speed tip. Just to arrive here doing this, we have to do it like in 4 different times. To arrive here, like I already did, it's just like in 1 or 2. So I'm gonna start stripping a little bit the darker part.
David, can we move?
Yeah.
Sorry, can we move
Yeah.
a little to the center? There we go, because I think the camera is
Like
focusing on
this.
your
Okay.
hand. There we go.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Doing this, it also gives this sense of fluidness. It's not so like, and I like these kind of lines, like really loose lines. So that's not the reason why I use them. And by doing the line work on pencil, I can just worry about the values and not worry about proportions right now, because I already did. And I didn't do it online because I didn't want to lose time doing it. I just want to go directly to the values. So if you have already your line work, I mean, my advice is to do a little bit of the line work. This one is maybe too much, and I arrived until this point just to send it to you guys. But I definitely finished a couple of steps before this. This one is too detailed. But if you already have your proportions set, you can just worry about values and not about proportions, because sometimes people feels like you are more of an artist, or maybe not, that you have more experience when you don't use a pencil. And that's something that people ask always: when do you use pencil? Or I jump into ink without pencil. And I like to have my proportions well, or on my subject put on the paper. I mean, I want to know that it's gonna fit. For example, that I sometimes you start here and you start inking, and then you realize that your subject doesn't fit on the page, and I don't like that. I don't like that to happen. So that's the reason why I do the pencil work.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, we've got a comment in the chat from Sandra saying, so we need to be careful and clean. I would use a paper under my hand so that I guess it doesn't smudge and to get an accurate
Yes.
drawing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're working on a desk like we're doing now, you can put a paper here. Maybe you're that way. If you're sweating, for example, you don't wet your page, and you don't move uh, the graphite from the pencil. But I repeat, most of the time I sketch in the street, so you cannot be that. I mean, you have to just sketch, you know. Okay, so now this is like the darker part of the bottom, and then let's go here. And I'm gonna go here with
So that curve in the sandals or slippers are kind of making me think that at first that it was a diagonal line, but I realized that these are still like vertical lines. I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
you got a good eye
Oh,
for that.
no, vertical. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. There is a light between this dark value and the other one, so you have to be careful with it, because you can always add, but you cannot take back. If you I mean, you cannot go back with the values. You can always add. This is like knotting technique. It's like watercolor. You always add layers. You cannot take out or cover them. So you have to be careful with that.
Absolutely. What do you do when one of those lines get, I guess, out of place than you expected, or do you just not bother?
No, you have to go darker. I mean, if you, for example, if I meant to be this part, I'll show you. If this meant to be two directions cross hatching, and this one is maybe three, and I made three here, and then for some reason I made three here, I have to go dark with this one and make it in four directions. And that means everything is going to be darker, because
Oh,
the important is the relationship between those two values. So if you go darker with one, you have to go darker with all to keep the relationship.
that makes sense. Thank you. And for others or beginners, we tend to when we want to make things darker, we use the same pen, and you're definitely right. It does get a little muddy and messy, just like in other mediums too. So working with different pens really do help. So in when you're sketching, I guess outside or like even inside or in person sketching, do you how many pens do you usually have? Like, do you just use one or do you have more than one?
I have the 005 and an 08, 07, 08. Yeah, I take two with me.
God.
But if I'm gonna show you maybe just let me show you just an example.
Ooh.
This one is just an 05, a 005. It's only an 05. And you arrive to those darker values like it, like just putting a lot of layers and some of the scribbling here. And I'm gonna try to look for another one with this one. This is an 08, and this one is a 005. And these bold lines are 08. This one here is an 08, and this one is a 005. With those two, you can see it here. You can see the 05, 005 cross hatching under the bold lines of the 08. Do you see that?
Absolutely, yeah. I can see
So,
now, understand. Yeah,
so
there's this different level of.
I mean, when I go to the street, I just use two. Is the
Uh-huh.
005, and this one is a no. This one is not. I mean, I didn't come out good with this one. I just didn't like it. But this black here, the dark part is I got it with the 08, and the very light parts I got it with the 005, and that's how it works. I mean, that's what I do when I'm in the streets.
Thank you. I think showing your examples really helped us visualize the difference between, the limitations of having just, um, a few pens and having like a couple of pens, which is doable still either ways. It's
Oh
still
yeah,
art. Yeah.
definitely. I mean, you can deal with just one pen, but having a couple of them or a whole set gives you more tools to achieve what you want to. You know, I mean, it's not impossible to do with just one, and it doesn't even matter if it's 005 or 08. I mean, you can work on it. But if you have the whole, if you have three or four, the more you have, the easier you get to the point that you want.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, a lot of wows and amazing in the chat when you showed your sketchbook. I know, right? Someone was saying they're doing this at work and they only have an office pen. So again, you got the assurance from David that it definitely is possible.
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely it's possible.
Oh, good question from Ben. Why are we working? Oh, dark to light. Oh, this is light to dark, right? We're working from light to, or sorry, dark to light.
Dark to light, yeah. I
Right.
just I'm gonna put my darker values on the drawing,
Darkest areas. Okay,
and then from there we start getting darker. We
gotcha.
will
So,
go darker.
so why do you work from dark to light and not light to dark?
Oh, because how do I explain it? I mean, I know why, but I just try to put the ideas together. Is because since you're adding, I could finish my drawing now, like if I do this one, and I could like erase the pencil lines, and you still understand the sentence. You will still understand it.
Gotcha.
If you do the lighter part and you erase lines, you will understand it because you need this contrast to understand it. So I'm gonna go like, for example, when you play with the contrast in a photo on your phone or Photoshop, whatever, when you play with the contrast and you get like two just two values, like total white and total black, you will get something like that we're doing here, like this part very dark and this one like very white. So in the beginning, I try to stick with that and then start building up the middle tones. I mean the mid tones.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah. So I think it's um, you're able to have more control when you lay down the darkest values first. So much like in other mediums do, when you lay down the darkest values, you tend to see the darkest areas already, so you don't have to like go back and forth with
Exactly,
layering.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Angel was mentioning any pen is perfect for a trained hand. Any thoughts about that?
Any pen is good for what?
Any pen is perfect for a trained hand.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it. How they say it? It's not the arrow. It's the Indian. Is that how they say it?
I think so too. Let us know.
It's not about the arrow.
Yeah.
It's about practice, of course.
This is interesting. Those two areas that you have just shaded are almost the same value. How do you delineate, I guess, that those are two different things? Because it's easy to like,
Because
yeah,
yeah, because I'm gonna add another direction, and
later.
maybe this one is gonna be three directions, and this one is gonna be four, or maybe this one is gonna be four, and this one is gonna be four plus a thicker pen. So I mean, now I'm just doing the first layer of values. I mean, it's just getting the dark and the very light ones. Maybe I'm not even working on these ones yet. Even this
Right.
one is darker than this one because I tend to think that this is a mid-tone. I mean, just like this one. This one is for me is a mid-tone, which is not. Maybe if you pay attention, this one is almost as dark as this one. But I'm gonna work later on it.
Okay. We have a question from Sandra. When you're working outdoors, do you use a pencil drawing first or jump right with ink?
No, I always do a pencil drawing first. I mean,
Mm,
it's just very light, but I need to put like a couple things together, just like I said before, to check that my drawing is gonna fit and I'm gonna show exactly what I meant to show on the paper. Now I'm gonna go with the darker one, which is this one, and I will try to write to very dark value here with the one that I know is gonna be very dark.
right. So interesting. Virginia was mentioning, I love hatching, as I'm very detailed, but my hands tend to twitch sometimes. Do you have any, I guess, recommendations for sudden or accidental lines, like apart from moving the values darker and adjusting the values rather?
Now you have to be careful with the lines. I mean, you cannot undo a line. I mean, yeah, you have to stick with it. I mean, and at the end, it doesn't matter. It's just part of the drawing. Uh, but um, but I suppose you have to think about it. I mean, like concentrate on what you're doing because if you do a line that is not supposed to be there, uh, Yeah, I mean, there's no like a common answer for that. I mean, you could do, I don't know. No, I don't know. Maybe I suppose add layers, add
Gotcha.
layers. Yeah, to get darker.
Ooh, Cheryl was asking, does the shape of the item and shadow determine how you cross hatch, round spots, get around line, etc.?
No, no. I mean, I don't follow the form. I don't follow the volume. I'm just thinking about the tone. I'm just thinking about the value. For me, it's even value. It's just I don't think about the what she mentions is called contour hatch. Is when you follow the form of the subject.
Sorry, can
And
you repeat that? That was
the contour hatch is
counter
when you
hat.
when you follow the volumes, and there's I mean it's a different approach. You have to also think about where's the how this curve, and then you follow the lines with that curve. I don't do that. I just don't.
I think that makes sense, though. Thank you for that. Ooh, interesting question from Meg. How do you take care of your pen's tips, especially for 0.005, or do you replace them often?
Yeah, I do replace them often, but I try to go. I mean, one of the reasons I also grab it from far away is because you can make that much pressure. I mean, it's just go light with it. I mean, it will mark anyway. But if you pressure, you might uh, break the needle, which is very tiny.
Oh, we've got
The
Virginia.
Yeah,
Sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, 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 go ahead.
Oh,
Ask.
Virginia was saying watercolor and cold press paper will ruin a pen in a hurry. Is there a preference for you in terms of papers, I guess, for pens?
Yeah, I mean, the hot press, it's better for pens because it doesn't have that texture, and you don't need to be the paper doesn't have to absorb that much water. So I prefer the hot press when I'm doing pens, but definitely love the texture on the cold press. And if you're doing nature, for example, it can give you some extra texture that you don't get on the cold press, on the hot press, sorry. So I use both of them, but the cold press I use them when I'm mixing watercolors. Definitely.
All right, thank you so much. These are all wonderful questions, you guys. Keep them coming. You're on the third or fourth layer already on this side.
This Most of them have 3 layers. And you can see this one is a little bit darker because it also matter the distance between the lines. If
Mm,
you if you see these lines are closer than these ones, so I got darker here. I got a little bit. It's a little bit darker than this one, but I just changed the distance between the lines.
really interesting point. So we're picking up a lot of notes here. So apart from the layers that affects the value, we also have the line distance and also the line direction. So a lot of key points that you guys are helpful tools for most of you guys. Hey, All of you, actually. Why do I say most?
At the end, it doesn't even matter how you arrive to the value. The important is that you get to the value,
Gotcha. Thank
because you
you.
have like I mean, a lot of different techniques to arrive to the value. You have, I mean, even the hatching, when you just use just one direction, you just play with the distance between the lines and the peak of the line using a different nib. You can arrive to the value that you want by just putting very close together the lines. You will get a black. You can use a stippling if you want. You can use the cross hatching as we're doing today. You can use the scribbling, as I was saying in the beginning. The important thing is that you get to the value.
Wonderful. And this is still the same pen that you started with,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. I
Gotcha.
haven't changed the pen yet.
Interesting.
We'll
All right.
we'll change the pen like in the second half of this sketch.
I see now the distancing of the lines and how it affects the values. Like you're creating this sort of gradient in this particular area alone.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
interesting.
Because if you see here is darker than the other one, so I'm just did this mark here. I'm gonna go in another direction, just like this. Okay, and I just mark it there. Now we see this one is very black here.
Lovely. Trishna is asking, do you seal your final work to get it smudge proof?
Say that again, please.
Yes. Do you seal your final piece to make
Oh,
it
no,
smudge proof?
no, I don't. I have to say that I'm a sketchbook artist. I always sketch on my sketchbooks, and the time and how they like change in time, it also, like, I like that, when I see like all the sketches and I see that they almost faint, for example, because they were in pencil. I really like that kind of thing, so I just don't seal anything.
Okay, wonderful. So Virginia was commenting, I never thought inking Birkenstocks would be interesting. These are like everyday objects that we take inspiration from. So I guess most of them would be curious, where do you take your inspiration from in your example, in your one sketch a day project before? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I started to sketch every day, the first week was kind of, no, the first day was easy because I just went and sketched a building, because that's what I used to do when I sketch like once a week or whatever. But when you start sketching every day, the subject, you run out of subjects very easily. So I start paying attention to my every single day objects, and then I discovered that you can sketch like everything. I mean, everything is sketchable. So it's even something like a glass of water could be like so hard to sketch or very easy depending on the time that you have. So that was one of the things that I really liked from sketching every single day, that I start making this visual diary, because I was sketching what surround me, my family and my shoes or my hands or the computer I'm using. And then when you change your computer, you remember you had that other computer from looking through your sketchbooks. So actually, it's almost more important the sketchbook than actually the drawing. So yeah, it is full of very simple things.
Thank you. I'm happy to that you've mentioned that because you're definitely right. We definitely can take inspiration from the mundane, from the things we don't usually notice. And I think that's the gift of being an artist. You know, you tend to notice a lot of things that most people are too busy to notice, I guess.
Yeah, you just sometimes you, for example, I found that when you go on a trip, you take pictures, and then I don't know if you happen to use sometime that you look at the picture and say, I don't remember where that was. But when you sketch, you will never forget about that. I mean, you always remember where you were because you pay attention when you sketch, when you draw, you start paying attention to what you're doing. So that is like another thing. It's like the philosophical part of sketching, you know.
Thank you so much. That's really beautiful. Also, interesting question with I guess in the topic that we're talking about. Angel was asking, how do you choose the subject to draw? And for others, for context, I guess, we're talking about for artists, say, for example, you have just a limited time. And I think David and I have talked about this during our calls, but um, if you have like a limited time, you have to choose what kind of subject fits in that time frame, and you end up, with just thinking about the subject, and you realize you lose amount of time. So,
Yeah,
David, yeah, the one and only question: how you
definitely.
choose? Yeah.
It's exactly like that. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I do serious, and that helps me a lot. So I divide my subjects in four big groups. One of those is like nature and urban sketching, like to build is doing outside. The other one is simple objects, like small objects in my house, like for example this one, or whatever. I mean, a glass of water or a spoon or the food that I'm going to eat today. The other one is my family and pets, and I'm forgetting another one. I'm forgetting one. Uh, it will come out later. But I divide like my inspiration in these four different things. So if I don't have any time, it's silly to think that I'm going out and sketch a landscape. I mean, it's not a point of thinking that. If I don't have time, the most easy is to stay at home and look to whatever. I open the fridge and get out, I don't know, whatever, a jar of olives, and that's how I found the inspiration actually.
Thank you so much. Right. Oops.
I'm going to start with this part here, and if you pay attention to it, there's like a small light between this value and this value here. I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to try to respect a little bit of light, which is this one here. There's a small light there. Do you see it?
Yep.
I'm gonna try to respect that. This one is gonna be easier because it's bigger. But between this value here and this one here, which are both dark, the light is very, very important. Because if you mix those two, you will lose that information. You will miss that information. So now we pay attention to dark parts, but just because of the light, because the important are the contrast between those two. So I'm gonna try to go on this one and try not to arrive to the edge. Let's see.
Mhm. Oh, just to clarify, I think Carla's asking, do you also ink the outlines or just the tonal values?
It depends. It depends. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I like it when I don't most of the time, but I'm gonna show you another example very quick. This
Hmm.
one is not aligned. It's just the change of the values makes the drawing bad. This one is definitely aligned.
Mm,
It depends also on the time. This one is outlined, for example,
right.
this year, but it's just because I don't have the time to, or maybe it's too subtle the change of the light that I just had to align to explain. This is what I was talking. Uh, the
Right.
importance on the dark against the white, against the lighter tones. That's when you get the difference.
Thank you for clarifying. And for those who are asking, I just dropped the link to the reference photo in the chat, so you might want to head over to the chat for that. So you can also use this for later if you want to follow along later. And also, if you're following along today and you want to post your work, make sure to tag David Morales and Etchr Lab at Etchr Lab. And I'm flashing David's Instagram on the screen so that you can tag him if you want to share your works as well. We're curious to know how what your output will be, or you can also draw your own slippers or flip flops or sandals. So really
That would be
interesting.
so cool.
Yeah, like a lot of flip flops in your timeline right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Notifications. For you.
That would be awesome.
Okay. Also, for the newcomers, we have a giveaway until the end of this session, so make sure to stick till the end because you will get a chance to win the Etchr Graphic Pen set that David is using at the moment. So you might be the lucky winner, and you will
Mm.
get to try this one. Yeah. Oh, a lovely question from Angel as well. I've seen some people using dotting or dots to get some lights and
Yeah,
shades. Yeah.
that is the stippling. You can add dots and get to the value. As I said before, the important thing is that you get to the value. I mean, it doesn't matter how you do it. Stippling is very time
Yeah.
spending. I mean, it takes a lot of time. But
Is
yeah,
that
it is nice to make.
Yeah. Is that the reason why you chose lines instead of like dots? Because it's easier to fill in?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, if you it just it's just like the uh, when I mean I want to go fast, but I also want to take my time.
Yeah.
Dotting is a lot of time, but maybe diluted ink is very fast. And this is like for me is the perfect balance between time and dedication to a drawing, you know. I'm trying to build up the midtones. So when I start doing that, you see this relationship between this value here and this one start like this one is it's like he's telling you I need to go dark. I need to go darker
Yeah.
because this one is getting darker.
Right.
So that's why I'm gonna start putting the other nibs on the darker values.
Exciting. Okay, let's see here. The size that you're working with is in A5 or B5, is that?
The size of the paper,
Yeah,
it's a
A5.
it's a horizontal A5. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. And do you have like a preference when it comes to sizes for papers? When or just the
Uh,
smaller?
it depends on what I'm sketching. Also,
Mm.
for landscaping, for example, I love this kind of sketchbooks because also the union. I mean, how do you call this another word in Spanish, but it's like the French, called the French
The
the way it's
binding.
whole, yeah, the binding that you can sketch on both sides of the
Yeah.
page. I mean, you can use the whole spread, and the line can be it's fluid.
Yeah.
I love that. So you can use both pages for landscaping, and you have this cinematographic proportion, like very horizontal. So I use that a lot. But then I find that format hard for like every single day. So I use the vertical ones. But the A6 size is like maybe the one that I use the most.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, you definitely can. And there's less challenge and pressure for you to fill the whole page rather.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm glad that you noticed that like that's flawless seam from one page to another is one of the things that we in Etchr advocate as well. And for those who are again new with us, one of our logos or motto in the company is we make. I mean the products we make are made by artists for artists. So we have like artists who really develop and really think about who will be using them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really glad that you've noticed that too. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the reasons why I really like your sketchbooks, is because
Oh,
of that.
thank you. Oh, really interesting question from Meg. What subject do you find particularly challenging to draw with hatching, and how do you tackle it? Like, I imagine textures like fur could be harder.
Um, Lighter subjects, like when you don't have too much of
Oh,
a
yeah.
contrast and it's light. For example, I don't know, a leaf that doesn't have any huge changes between dark and light. Oh, that is hard to do, especially if it's in, I don't know, with another ones. I mean, getting detailing in something very light is very hard to do.
That makes sense, but in also in the example you've shown earlier about the building with all the trees, that was pretty light, but I think you were able to pull it off in such a way that it's still there's still like values, and you were able to make it look like it's just too sunny or bright. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but there's like, for example, if you have a face,
Mm.
because here we don't have the color information, and you can change thing with color, but when you do it in black and white, you have to do it with values, with the contrast. So when you have a face and you don't have any shadows on that face,
Um.
it's very hard, for example, to show the volume, because how do you do
Gotcha.
it? you have to use another techniques, like maybe the counter hatch, where you can like counter the face, and then you can show the volume with with the lines, like curving the lines. But with this kind of lines, it's very hard for me, at least for me.
Gotcha. Or Virginia was right. Lovely to see how this Birkenstock was building up. And we never knew, the beauty in the mundane really is the essence
Oh
of
yeah,
the.
definitely. I mean, I love the beauty and the mundane things. Yeah, no doubt about it. And it's as difficult as you want to be.
Lovely work. And this is still, by the way, for those who just arrived, done with the same pen that we began with. And really interesting to see how David will bring more depth and dimension as he switches to a different pen later on. So, yeah. So, quick time check. We're in an hour time in our live today. So we'll be closer to the wrapping up later on. So again, hang in there, you guys, if you are willing to, or if you're one of the lucky winner for the giveaway later. Who's excited to win the graphic pens? It's all art
Kind of,
materials. We're all excited for art materials, hands down.
do I get to participate?
Oh,
I don't know. I would love to.
oh gosh, you're funny. Ali says me, awesome. Okay. Llama says Terry. Llama. Do you guys know why we have llama as the logo? Quick fun fact. We started off with the Etchr carry range, so that's going to be the satchels, and we have the nano satchel, by the way, released just recently, which almost sold out. So yeah, that's the reason why we have the llama for the logo, because the llamas apparently carry stuff,
Okay.
kind of thing. So yeah, really interesting. Just in case you guys are curious why llamas for Etchr.
Hmm.
All of us for sure are excited. Awesome. Okay, I can see the excitement. Clue for later. I need you guys to, I guess, take note about Etchr product facts so that you can get a higher chance to win, more chances of winning. Let's just say. Hey, hello, Gabriella in the chat. Awesome. That tiny mark you did for the what do you call this? The thumb of the foot. Yeah,
This one,
it's
yeah,
very effective.
that's one of those difficult things to do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
very silly, but that's what I find difficult, because if I put the line too close together, maybe it gets too dark, and since you cannot come back, it's just like ooh. And if I do another direction, maybe it gets darker and it's hard. I mean, yeah, it looks silly, but it's like those things that I find hard to do.
No, you make it so effective. I was just gonna say, um, it's one of those reasons. I mean, we appreciate the reasons behind you using a thin pen, and the distancing of the lines makes it so natural to be there instead of just all of a sudden there's a mark in the white page. Kind of like that.
I'm gonna go darker now, and I'm gonna use, let's see, what should I use? Maybe I'm gonna use the O6, for example. And now let's go darker. Let's go with an O8. And
Oh, that is beautiful. That is effective. Oh, somebody says in the chat, this really wants me to start urban sketching again with beautiful hatching. I'm so a beginner, but love it. Yay!
that's so cool to hear. You see how suddenly it just pop up?
Yeah. Your hands are like magic. Like all of a sudden, it's like, you know, one of those transitioning screens. It's like, ooh, so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, it looks like someone's following along, and they're mentioning that their shoe is coming together. Oh.
Yes.
I missed the size he changed to. This is an O8. Um, we're still in
Yeah,
the needle.
it is. It is an O8. Look at it.
Thank you.
It's,
I love how people are noticing a lot of the techniques that you're doing. Carol mentioned the tiny white lines you mentioned leaving makes such a difference in defining the edges of the shoe. One
yeah,
reason I love black and white art. Yeah. Oh, just pure magic. How simple hatching can do this, and I love that you mentioned earlier you're seeing a subject as based on their tonal values and not as the subject itself, because that can be intimidating. So
yeah,
really helpful.
yeah. I mean, maybe the most difficult part is to getting the proportions right when you sketch it, when you draw it. But once you get it, I mean, it's just like these coloring books that we have when we were little, that you just have to put the right value on the spot and just come out. I mean, the drawing is already there. And I try to, yeah, always try to lose, try not to pay attention too much to the details, but there's things that you have to respect, just not to miss the like the spirit of the drawing. But I mean, I don't have to be too respectful with the lines here, because when you look at it from a distance, you will understand how it works. Okay. uh, I'm gonna get maybe the O5 here, and we're gonna work a little bit here because this dark value.
I was on mute and I was asking a question. um
Mm.
and this is still on O8, right?
No, I just changed the O5
Oh, fine, gotcha.
because I'm gonna work on the
Midtones.
mid tones here.
Gotcha. Thank you. Ooh, interesting concern. Well, yeah, question and concern. Someone's asking, for them, it's sometimes hard to see the values when the object is in full color and they need
Yeah.
to change the photo in black and white. Do you have
Oh
like a
yeah,
tip, I
yeah,
guess?
yeah. Do that. Yeah, that's the perfect tip.
How about when what about if you sketch in real life and the photo is in full color? Do you have like tips or
Yeah, you have your phone with you. Take a picture and put it in black and white. I mean, yeah, it's just like that. Just like that. I mean, people before phones used to have like a small glass, a red glass. I mean, so you can look through the red glass and everything is monochrome. It will be red, but you can understand the values. I mean, it will be the same.
gotcha?
And it used to be a small little like a piece of glass, like a yeah, a red glass, red square red glass. That you look through it and you can see the values, you can understand. But now we have phones and it's just as easy as taking a picture and put it in black and white and understanding the values.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Make use of technology.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no shame on it. I mean, if you are familiar with the history of art, you can see that big figures in the past had used tons of tools to get their drawings right, get the proportions right. This is not some gift that you got from God. This is something that you build by working and working and using everything you got in your hand to just improve your technique. And that's just I mean, that's about it. So, of course, sketching from reality is a little bit harder than doing it from a photo reference. But what's the point of getting upset in the street? Just take a picture, for example, and use it as reference. And then slowly you can start doing it from life. Just what works for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you're teaching us to be comfortable with the things we have because sometimes, yeah, we're definitely in that zone where we think artists are, we're far from being artists because they are naturally gifted with a lot of things.
No,
Well,
I
that may
don't
be
think
true,
there's yeah, no, no. No, I don't know anyone
yeah.
born like that. I know all of the people that do great things. It's just about sweating and not about inspirational thing, you know. Um, I'm gonna work a little bit on the some mid tones. I'm gonna go back to the 005, so I can work.
Okay. Really interesting how this is coming up. Thanks. To Ali mentioned, I remember when I used to be scared to use references. It's funny how
Yeah,
we set
yeah.
these,
That you don't want you don't want anybody to find out that you do it from reference. I mean, it's
yeah,
just I don't know why people do that. I don't like it. I get mad about it.
yeah,
I mean, it's just this is.
it
I
should be
don't think I'm gonna be in any big museum after I die. I mean, I'm just having a good time and just doing my,
exactly.
in my case, doing my visual diary, and I want my thoughts and uh, my things in my sketchbook. I mean, and in the meantime, I'm getting practice. I'm practicing, and I'm getting better at it. And I've been doing all kind of sketches from photo reference, going out to the street, sketching with people, sketching alone. I mean, you start like testing yourself, and then you do what you feel comfortable with.
Exactly. We're doing this for memories. Um, want to draw portraits? Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, we're nearing the end of this demo, and as we wrap up, let us know if you have questions for David for our Q&A at the end. Um, And but if not, that's also okay. No pressure, you guys. And
I
yeah,
have a question.
yeah.
I want people to tell me if this is called flip-flops or sandals. How do you call it? Because I have this question. I mean, I know how it's called in Spanish, but in English, I said flip-flops, but
Yeah.
maybe this is no, because I heard this is not flip-flops. So please tell me what's the
Yeah,
name of this kind of shoes?
let us know, because to be honest, David has been bothered about it. Few days before, I was yeah, we were contemplating about it. So do let us know. Like those people. Okay, what's it called? Okay. Ali says sandals. In German, you say I cannot unfortunately pronounce. I might disappoint. Sandals, they're slides. Says Meg.
Slides,
Okay,
okay.
different. Okay, sandals, flip flops. Okay, just call them Birkenstocks. Okay,
A big
now
sock, okay. Yeah, that's the brand.
they have. Oh, let's see. Really interesting.
See, for example, now how you can start building the midtones and getting in details. For example, with this part here, that if you did in the beginning, for me, it will be hard to remember what that is. So now I start working in this little piece, which is all light. So I now put midtones on that light.
You can see definitely how that kind of marries the dark and light values together. Flip flops have something in between the toes. Okay, gotcha.
Okay. That makes sense.
Ooh.
I can
Mhm.
I could use now, for example, a little bit of a scribbling to get, which is to get to some textures in the darker values.
It still keeps coming. um, all right, you guys might want to refresh your screens if so that you get the actual live broadcast so that you don't have like lags for later's giveaway. Just a tip. And let's see. Oh, what is the paper? This is the Etchr hot pressed sketchbook in A5. And then
One of the
Beth
things
has,
that I
yeah.
can do is, for example, I can add the shadow, and in this case, I could do just vertical lines, maybe more graphic than real.
David,
And
sorry.
this,
It's
say,
focusing on
yeah,
your hand at the moment. Thank
okay.
you.
Let me move this.
There we go. Thank you.
How much time do we have left?
I think we can do 5 more minutes
Okay.
to wrap up the shadows. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank everyone.
Let me just finish the shadow and do one more thing.
Mhm. Beautiful. It's definitely graphic, but it also feels natural.
Yeah,
It's
it's
beautiful.
very effective. Okay, and now Let's do this. It's here, and I. Okay, let's use the.
Sandals.
Let's see.
Choosing sandals today, you guys. Okay.
Mhm.
Ah, beautiful. And this is, sorry, the brush pen?
Is the
Oh, the chisel. Okay.
chisel? Yeah.
Do you also use the chisel tips for blocking off like completely black shapes, like in the?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't hear because if you see, there's like white
Mm,
spots between the lines.
right.
So this is, I could go darker. If I wanted to go darker, I could use it. But in this case, I just want
Yeah.
to keep this
Right.
little uh,
White
spaces
spaces.
between the lines. Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. So for those who aren't familiar with the chisel tips, these are kind of similar to the Old English typography texts. Am I right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting, and that's why David was showing us earlier that there's an angle that you can use, just the pointy tip, and there's an angle that you can use to block off an entire shade or area. I like what he's doing now. Curious question for you, David. If
Hmm.
whenever you have like subjects that have words on it, do you ever
Hmm.
misspell them?
Yeah. Yeah. What it
Yeah.
happened to me last week. Oh yeah, I was on a trip and I was sketching a sign that said Mirelle in French, and I put it right in one point, and then I don't know, I was thinking of it, and I wrote a different thing, and well, I will remember it my whole life when I look at the sketch, that I missed that up. But I mean, I think it's part of the experience of sketching
Yeah.
in the sketchbook. I mean, it's not a commission, you know.
Right, right. Absolutely. I think it's one of those funny moments that are proof, I guess, that when you really draw or sketch, you'd really get lost into it. Like
Yeah,
nothing really.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And if I want to be like more precise, I used to um, use my pencil first, you know. So, but even if I use my pencil, sometimes I read and I don't know, I don't understand what I read, and I just miss a spell also. So, yes, I do that.
I'm glad that this demo is so full of techniques, but is also relatable in so many levels. Let's see. Um, de- I mean, Beth mentioned as artists, we also try to name the colors and things we see. And like most people, we see some green, gold in the grass, or burnt umber in a tree, or rose in the sky. So, absolutely.
Yeah. Since this one is like very bold, I'm gonna put some bold lines here to
Yeah.
just to like to match. And that could be, oh, I think this one should be a little bit bigger. And that could be it, for example. So
Yeah.
we've used the double five, oh eight. We're gonna use the brush pen. We use the oh 05, the 3 millimeter chisel, and we didn't use all of these. Well, we could have, and I still have some more here. So I believe there's like anything you can imagine, you can do it with this set, I suppose. Listen, I'm just like looking for far away. I suppose I could darker here. See what happened when you look at the camera? And
Yeah.
now I see like this one is very dark and this one got lighter because the relationship. So I can just
Oh,
do something like that. See?
that was a quick adjustment. Yeah.
So I can just
Lovely. Okay. And while David is wrapping up, um, again, for those who are with us today, if you followed along, make sure to tag David on Instagram. Somebody mentioned earlier that he just followed David. Thank you, you guys.
oh, thank you.
I'm also flashing the David's Instagram handle here. We'll have the balance is yeah. And also, you may want to join our private Facebook group as well. If you want to, if you're interested to share your works there, feel free to also tag at Etchr Lab here for a chance to get your works featured on our page. So we're really excited to see your works. And yeah, thanks to you. Awesome.
Okay.
And, okay. All right, I think this is done. I guess we have one question that
Okay.
is very much related to what you just showed us. Okay, there we go. So somebody's asking, let's see. I think I lost it. Oh my gosh. All right. How long do you like to work on a drawing before you say it's done?
It depends on how much time I have. Uh, I try not to overdo the drawings, um, but it takes me a good drawing wouldn't be the word, but the one that I'm satisfied with, it could be around an hour and a half. More than that, sometimes I kind of lose concentration and I start like my mind. So I have to stop. So I do like different sessions when I have to do bigger things. But my perfect time will be between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. So whatever I can do with that time.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Really enjoy this demo. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed this tutorial. Came in late. No worries. For those who were late and wanted to rewatch this, no worries. This will be available after this live. So use the same link on our YouTube channel. And if you love this video, by the way, make sure to hit a like and subscribe. um, all right. How? Okay.
I think I have one last question. That
Yeah.
how do you mentally deal with the drawing you finish? you finish, but you're not happy with it.
Mm.
I tape like 2 pages, and I just put it on my sketchbook. But yeah, but I just glue the pages, and I just don't see.
Oh
No,
gosh.
I'm just kidding. I haven't done that much. I have done sometimes this, but I I repeat, this is part of the journey. I mean, when you mistake or you believe that you mistake, um, you get a lot out of it. I mean, then you understand why by watching again, by looking at it again, you can understand what you did that you didn't like, and then you make sure that you don't repeat it.
Okay, looks like that was a funny answer for most of them. Yeah. Um, glue trick is nice.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think there's a lot of people related with the glue in the sketchbook.
That was surprising. I did not expect that, but I guess that is a valid and acceptable answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Turn the page. There we go.
yeah.
Turns out. Awesome. All right. That was a wonderful demo. Thank you so much, David. A lot of things that we learned today, apart from the fact that we have demonstrated the versatility of the Etchr Pen collections. You have taught us a lot of techniques as well on how to see subjects based on their values, how different techniques affect the values as well that you make, like the distance in the lines, the layers that you make, the directions of the line. So thank you so much for that. I think a lot of people are inspired to make,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, do this technique with their own references. So,
Yeah, it
um,
would be so cool if you guys sketch your own flip flop or sandals or whatever you did today. If you just finish with it or and the point that you want, just tag me and I will be so happy to see what you guys did today with us, and hope to see you next time. And for sure, just if you want to keep in touch with me, do it through Instagram, where it's the social media I use the most and where I um, post most of my drawings. So yeah, see you there.
yay. Awesome. Thank you so much, David. And for the moment you guys have all been waiting for before I go to the giveaway Carlo was
Oh yeah.
mentioning, I can do a live. Carlo mentioned I can do a live for you teaching the gluing technique if you're interested.
I'll sign up on that one.
That was thank you so much, Carlo. All right. So, all right. Before anything else, I mean, moment we've all been waiting for. So the giveaway. It's easy for the mechanics. You just have to be in this chat, and I will ask a question. The answer to that will be a number. So you have to guess any number, but you're only allowed to type in your answers when I type go. And then I'll give you 15 to 30 seconds to type in your answers for those who have lags, I guess. And then when I type stop, all of those answers between go and stop message that I sent will be the ones that will be included in, I guess, the answers in the giveaway. So ready for the questions. All right. So the question is, how many how many pens do we have in the Etchr Graphic Pen Collection? So again, how many pens do we have in the Etchr Graphic Pen Collection?
I know.
David already knows the answer. And 3, 2, 1, go. All right. And while we're waiting for people to answer, we first one, I think we have a winner already. Okay, you guys. That was pretty easy.
That was
Okay.
fast.
All
That
right.
was fast.
So I'm looking at my screen. Let me know if this is correct as well, David, based on the chat. Okay. The first person who appears on my screen to have the right answer is Meg Del Castillo. Okay. And she answered 16. So, all right. So, congratulations, Meg. And everyone got the right answers. Okay. I am really sorry, but it's a matter, I guess it's just a matter of fast internet connection. So, congratulations to you, Meg. You won the Etchr Graphic Pen Collection set.
All
And I
right.
hope you guys enjoyed today's live and the giveaway as well. So, any final thoughts before? Oh, sorry, I did not give the steps. So Meg, if you can shoot us a message at hello@etchrstudio.com. Here we go. Hello@etchrlab.com. My bad. So for those who are new as well, Etchr Lab, we supply art materials for all of you guys, all the lovely art materials you love. And then Etchr Studio is an art learning platform where David has also taught with us before. So those are two different. This one's for Etchr Lab. Shoot us a message at hello@etchrlab.com and we'll send over the steps on how to give you the prize. So congratulations again, Meg. And any final thoughts, David, before we close the session?
Well, no, I just want to thank you guys for being here, and this sense of community. I really like this, just chatting and it's like sketching with friends, just like and exchanging thoughts about drawing always makes me happy. So, thank you for having me, and thank you guys for being here, and I hope to see you very soon. Yeah.
All right. And thank you so much again, David, for that wonderful demonstration. And thank you, everyone, for sticking with us till the end. You've been such a wonderful audience. It's as if we have no screens that are, bounding us. David is right. It's like a wholesome community. So thank you so much, everyone. And with that being said, thank you again, David, for that wonderful demonstration. And we will see you next time. Make more art, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye bye.